Hello, everybody. It's Bee from My Window to the Lake, and for today master sessions, we're having the amazing Andre Hartwich with us, who's gonna help us with the subject that is meditation. We have been receiving a lot of questions from you, and mentor and meditation guide from Drew. And he's the creator of several online courses like Create Your Life Love and given thinking challenge and meditation courses. And he has helped me and Maddie in the past with several meditation techniques.
But it's always been there, even as a teenager when I was studying martial arts. Even there they would do breathing practices and meditation. So for me, it's always kind of been in there. And then in my mid-20s is when I became very conscious, like, oh, meditation is a thing. And I'm studying yoga, I'm studying meditation. I started to do like the real practice with myself on a very regular basis. And that's then how it really developed.
There was no feelings or emotion that triggered it, like for you to say, yes, I want this in my life as a part of my life.
Well, definitely that there has been, but it has been there from very long. I've always been just interested in those deeper philosophical questions.
Okay.
And so that's one component which has fed, I think, from an early age, just my interest. There was a time in the mid-90s where most people that I knew and I was hanging out with, they were on Prozac. At that time, there was an antidepressant, and like a lot of people were using it. And eventually, I also suffered a burnout, and then I was like, okay, so why is it happening? And how can I cope with all of this, the challenges I was facing at the time? And that's when meditation became more of a necessity for me than a pure interest. That's when I really started to understand how meditation could really become something that would help me to have stability in life and be able to deal with the challenges and stresses, but also with changing the way I was thinking, because a lot of what I think caused me to sometimes be a little bit gloomy and unsatisfied, or maybe a little bit depressed. But also with the people around me, it's just the way we were thinking and how we related to ourselves and to other people. And that's when I started to discover that, if I just approach meditation slightly different, then actually these things can become resolved. And in my experience, there are different layers to meditation, different reasons why people meditate. So especially in the last few years, there's a lot of research done on meditation, and a lot of it is published on the internet and in magazines, and mindfulness is like a big term nowadays. And especially the benefits of meditation, like less stress, you suffer less from insomnia, can improve your concentration, less anxiety, less depression, all those kind of things. So there's a lot of benefits. So for a lot of people, this is a great reason to start to meditate. And there are certain meditation practices that really lend themselves to let go of stress and to relax and to bring healing into your system. And then there are people, and I would also consider myself a little bit more in that corner, where it comes more from a perspective also of self-discovery and maybe even a spiritual inclination of those deeper questions: who am I? And long to discover the essence of who we really are. And meditation can also answer that.
Okay.
So depending on what your interest is and where you come from, meditation has a big, broad span of how it can help.
Okay, yes. And that leads to my second question, because I know that in your programs you use different meditation techniques, and you are using different types of meditation. So you were talking a little bit about some benefits that you see in this kind of programs. You use the meditation, and why do you use it, and like what What's the main purpose for you to more like on this spiritual way that you're talking, or make realize the choice? But
Well,
how do you pick to use meditation techniques when?
that's a good question. So, why do I use meditation in my programs, and why do I use different kinds of meditation or different techniques? And again, there are layered answers to that. The first is like meditation as a whole, I think is really good to actually help people to ground and develop clarity of mind and develop a certain capacity to concentrate and improve that. And it definitely helps to let go of tension and relax, which is something that I feel most people need. And so in my programs that are very much geared between like a little bit of self-mastery and be able to create a life that has meaning and purpose so that people feel that they wake up in the morning and they know why they're waking up and they have a plan and they are very clear on what they want from life, but they also have a sense of, but how can I bring all of this about? But then we have to start at what people are. And the first thing is to bring a little bit of clarity in our minds. A lot of us, we overstimulate it. We stress. There's a lot of challenges nowadays for us. Physically perhaps, but especially also mentally and emotionally. There's a lot of information coming at us. A lot of people are tired. And then we still have to navigate and make sometimes big choices, like what do I want from life? And where do I want to invest my energy in? And maybe I really want to actually experience a life quite different from how am I perceiving and experiencing my life right now.
Yeah.
So all those things need to be addressed. So the first thing that I usually start with is just getting people into a relaxed and receptive state where the anxiety starts to relax, where stress starts to relax. And that will, in return, will help for you to have more energy. I'm being led by unconscious choices. And maybe that's fine, but maybe if you feel that your life is going in a direction that you go like, meh, discussions and feelings, and to get a little bit of more self-mastery in that area. And with that comes clarity of mind, and with that comes a proper discovery of what is it that I want. And then like a third level, what you could say, and those are the kind of meditations that are a little bit more towards the end of my courses, are where you really start to refine and shape your consciousness a little bit. For the purpose that you're able to get a clear perception and discernment of being able to see what is real for what's not real, bit by bit, step by step. And that will also help you to recognize opportunities that are presented to you. It will help you relate to people because yes, you will hear what people are saying, but you also develop this capacity to hear beyond what they're saying. You start to hear people's hearts. Yeah. And that will help you to, maybe know who to trust or maybe with whom to spend less time. And it's a knowing, but it also, by opening your heart in that sense, which is also related to consciousness you carry, to connect with the right people who are a blessing on your path, so to speak, and who can make a difference to your life. So it's always easy to go into specifics. So in the course, if you go through a course like this, then it will be more self-evident what I'm talking about. But this is a little bit like a high-level overview of why I use different meditation techniques, simply because different techniques have different purposes and different outcomes.
Okay. You talked about being overexposed and looking for people to relax because they're all burned out. Do you think there's a difference between being burned out before and now due to the technology, the amount of time we spend using technology, and how it's disconnecting us, and how can meditation bring us a little bit more into connection?
Yeah. Again, excellent question. And because I also have quite a background in the field of technology, this is something I'm quite passionate about. I think it's twofold. So yes, I think technology is contributing to sensory overload, to information overload, to more stimulation. I think it's also fragmenting our capacity to concentrate, and that actually is really a burden on the mind, on our minds. And so I think it's contributing. There's also like quite a significant trend where people are getting burned out much earlier than they used to. Yeah. So about 30, 40 years ago, people would be in the 50s and experiencing burnout, for example. So most people experiencing burnouts 30, 40 years ago were usually in the late 50s or close to retirement. And now people in the mid-20s are burning out. So, and I do think that technology contributes to it. I do not believe it's the sole contributing factor. I think it's also like changes in society and just a whole combination of factors that play a role. But I do believe that technology plays a big role. And I think one of the most scarce, rarest commodities that we have, that we're really losing out on, is on our capacity to concentrate, to let our mind to be focused on one thing. Because we're continuously being interrupted. We're being interrupted by notifications on our phones or by email or simply by people. And that actually makes us tired. Yeah. We're not really designed to function like that. And so in that sense, we haven't caught up, like our evolution hasn't caught up with technology and with the new habits that technology is actually bringing about. Yeah. And for example, myself, I've been very purposeful. Like this last month, I took on a commitment for myself, which I sometimes do, to really not go into social media and really focus on certain projects that I had. And I'm really noticing that it actually it changes things. And I also had this inertia in the beginning. It was difficult because I had this habit of just being very easily checking something or seeing a link somewhere that would take me into social media. And now I skip those things. But sometimes I still have this urge or this fix out of curiosity or get some new information. And I think most people will recognize that. So it has become a habit of interrupting ourselves. And it's become a habit to get new information in short form. So it's not very detailed. Yeah. It's just a short something. And we're conditioning our mind, and we're getting addicted to receiving new input and new impulse. Mm-hmm. And it's wearing out our nervous system. It's wearing out our brains. It's impacting our sleep. And especially, in my opinion, it's actually separating ourselves from ourselves.
Do you think that puts us in autopilot?
Say again?
If you think it puts us in autopilot, it's easily like go through the day and just be in autopilot all day. Social media, checking, scrolling.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think a lot of us live on autopilot, and our habits. We're not aware that we actually, every time when we do anything, at some level, we're making a choice to do that. Most of the time, the choices have become completely unconscious. So that's good. But they're also habits that we think are normal because they're just a sign of the times. But they're robbing us of clarity. They're robbing us actually of consciousness. Because of a consequence, for example, of technology is there's a lot of ideas from other people coming our way. And other people are often setting the agenda for how we think and how we feel. And therefore, there's no surprise that a lot of people feel confused about who they are and what they want from life and what they should make of their lives, because they're not in touch with themselves anymore, because there's so little self-contemplation and little self-reflection. And I also believe that's why nowadays we see quite a big movement, a counter movement of more people meditation, start doing yoga, start to become more interested in self-development and spirituality, because we feel the need to reclaim who we are and to build that connection. And I also do believe, because you asked about technology, that technology makes us very connected with other people, but purely on a digital level. One of the most healing things in life is to have real connection with people. I think that's what this is, to be able to relate to other people, to feel safe around other people. Know, how can I have a meaningful conversation with someone else? How can I spend meaningful time with someone else? How can I have fun? But also, how can I make a difference to a person? But just to have people around us. And I believe that is something that's becoming more difficult, more rare. I think more people are becoming more isolated from real relation. And that's a challenge.
If you had to give our audience one tip to be able to stay connected to other people today, what would you say?
Reach out to other people and start talking to other people. Start talking to other people.
Okay.
And involve people in your life. Just include people in your life. I think that's one of the biggest tips that I have, that I've learned from my teachers and my mentors. And every time I just see it happen again and again. We thrive with having the right people around us. And to be able to have the right people around us, we need to connect and reach out to people. And taking initiative in that is important. And you asked for one tip. So I think that's one side of the equation. The other side is really start to, if you have a chance, explore meditation, because that will actually help you to relate to people. Because the more you get to know yourself, the more you start to get to know other people too.
Okay. And if there's someone that is finding resistance towards meditation today, because you know what society has imposed us, that meditation is being in a very still position for half an hour.
That it works, and how that's okay. Because for me, one thing which I haven't spoken about yet, but for me, and especially in these days, what's happening all now in the world, one thing why I value meditation so much is also because I think there's a big correlation between peace and meditation. Because the more people lose their fear in life, and the more people know what they want, the more people meditate, the more selfless people become. And I do believe that a lot of conflict, either just in the family, or in relationships, or at work, or maybe even on a bigger global scale, actually comes from a place of selfishness. It's like our own self-interest, our own little universe, our own little world. And what meditation actually helps us to have as a living, real realization by itself, it's not a big struggle, but it's just to reveal to us how we're all connected and how we're all interdependent on each other. And as you start to become more kind, just by the act of getting to know who you really are and discovering that those qualities are inherent in every human being. We are giving, loving creatures. Anything that is different from that is because for whatever reason, we have put things in front of that. And we don't recognize that aspect that, you know, when I'm okay with hurting people, or I'm okay to want something, and I notice actually by wanting that, or by doing something, it might hurt other people. It comes from a place of not knowing myself, not realizing who I really am. And it goes against my true nature. And that's also why often we feel restless. And this also happens on very, not big scales, but like on daily life, little decisions. And so as meditation, as it helps you to become more giving and more kind and compassionate, you become more selfless. As you become more selfless, you'll find there will be less conflict in your environment. And therefore, you also notice that your relationships improve. And as you become a more accepting person, a more patient person, a more selfless person, you also notice that the people around you will actually, over time, also start to inhibit those qualities. And I do believe that if we want a more peaceful environment around us, in the family, in our communities, at work, and in society at large, and of course the world, personally, I think meditation and everything that comes with it is a necessity. And it's one of the biggest gifts we can give, not only to ourselves, but also to the people around you. So if I know that if I start meditating, then the people around me benefit. And that's just such a big gift, not only to me. So I know that when I meditate, I'm not only making a difference to me, but I'm making a difference to the people who are close to me. And I think that's also like that's a thought that I like. And I thought I would just share that with you and the people viewing. It's a very practical way to make a difference in the world. It doesn't stop there. It's not just you sitting, because meditation is a big thing. And eventually, maybe if you invite me again, we can speak about how can we make things practical in the world. But that's for another call. But yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. It was a real pleasure. And if people got questions, they can reach out to you or to me. And
I'm sure they will have, and I'm sure they will reach us and contact us in regards to like giving to the others with meditation. And what you're saying and what we want out of this world is to feel better and to be more compassionate and spread peace out. And so in a way, meditation can help us to be more kind and more loving to other people. So I really appreciate that from you. So thank you.
Pleasure.
A pleasure. And I hope to have you again, of course.
Well, in that case, thank you so much. Until the next time. Take care.
Thank you.